So by the time you see this review, we will already be overseas, but we wanted to sneak in seeing this movie before we went away, because it's one we've been excited for a really long time. We've seen Wind River, or Wind River, depending on...
No one's
going to call it that at all.
Going to call it Wind River.
Anyway, we saw it and we're going to talk about it, because, yeah, that's
what we do.
So Taylor Sheridan is the writer who kind of started off doing Sons of Anarchy.
A writer? Or a writer? Or a writer?
No, you said it, your accent made it sound like you said writer twice.
Or Winona Ryder.
Enough!
Don't stop me now.
He's also known for the incredible screenplay for Sicario, and he also did Hell or High Water last year, which was Oscar nominated and one of our favourite films of the year. So, based off that fact alone, knowing that he's doing his first film that he's actually directing and writing at the same time, for us that was like, hell yeah. And basically this movie is about a Native American girl is found dead in the middle of the snow in Wyoming, and Jeremy Renner's character discovers a body who works as a hunter. He does like animal control, and he basically helps the FBI, who's the only FBI agent that's sent over is played by Elizabeth Olsen. They kind of team up to work out what has happened, and their kind of story kind of converges, and you find out stuff about them along the way, about what motivates them, what drives them. It's a very, very Taylor Sheridan-like screenplay.
But it's a pretty sweet start for him. It's a pretty damn good film. I mean, for the most part, like we weren't overly... We didn't love it, but we definitely respect it. But there is a lot to like here.
It's definitely got a lot of good stuff to it. It's one of those movies where, like, we're trying to work out whether it overcooked stuff or undercooked stuff, and I think we've kind of come to the conclusion that it's one of those movies where a lot of stuff here is really good, but it's definitely got that kind of novice thing to the direction of it. It's kind of very simple direction. It's kind of the direction that you get with once you've got kind of got an understanding of film, and you can understand what's being communicated in certain shots, in certain scenes. You look at a frame, you understand what the frame's telling you, whether it's like a long shot and a long lens with kind of a vision slightly obscured and the focus character's doing something in the distance. You're like, okay, we're meant to feel tense because it's meant to feel like someone's watching. It's kind of that basic level of communication where you can't really dig into it too much deeper in the way that scripts that he has done that have been handled by other people have just been able to, like Sicario and Hell or High Water, you can just read into and read into and read into because the direction is genius. This is just a well-directed movie with a really good script that doesn't really excite in the way we were hoping it to.
But it's a pretty good script. I wouldn't say it's a really good script. Like, I mean, like, the one thing that we've always loved about Taylor Sheridan is, like, his lack of exposition. It's something he said he learned as an actor. He doesn't want to act anymore. He said that as an actor, he hated having to work with exposition. So when he writes his scripts, he doesn't write them with any exposition. So essentially, you don't find anything about these characters until you kind of get usually halfway through.
It happens naturally. Like a conversation will pop up between two characters that already know something about each other. Like, no one ever has to explain, this is who I am, this is what I do, this is what I know.
And so in Sicario, and both Sicario and Hell or High Water, he did this excellently, and it really worked quite well, and it worked within the story. But I found with this film, it just, like, from the get-go, I think through the tone and the pacing of the film, we didn't care enough for these characters or emotionally connect with them to when we got to the point when we found out more information, it just kind of didn't matter.
I was kind of connected. I was connected. It was just one of those films where it kind of does, like, the base requirement to get you there. And I'm not gonna deny this film does, like, a lot of really impressive stuff. It has a really kind of solid tone, the sense of place, the sense of atmosphere, the music, which is by Nick Cave and Warren Ellis again, who are two of our favorite composers, was excellent. It's just, again, one of those movies where you can just see it bleeding that this is this guy's first time directing a movie, kind of in every single element. And it kind of shows in the way that the characters are written. As you've said, you don't find a lot about them out as we go along. And Jeremy Renner here is really, look, everyone in this film is really firing on all cylinders. It's just the fact that a lot of them aren't able to overcome the lack of material they kind of have to work with. Everyone's pushing really hard to feel like real people with real plot, real problems and real desires, but the script isn't really letting them get there.
Yeah, and I think it's also because, I mean, like, the last two times that Taylor Sheridan's scripts have been turned into films, he's had the likes of directors that really know how to wrap their hands around the world as such, and I think that's something that Taylor Sheridan will hopefully learn over time as a director, is how to control his own world and how the environment intersects with the characters and how, like, he can capture that through the cinematography, etc., so forth. Like, we go on forever. But, like, I mean, it's a pretty damn good first effort. I mean, it just there's a few misses here and there. I will make note though, there is a turning point in this film as such, and you will know when it happens. absolutely fantastic, and he kind of played with the different like style of structure that he hadn't touched on before. So much respect for that, because it really had a hell of a payoff. And at that point there, that was the 10 that was the 10 out of 10 Taylor Sheridan that we know.
This movie actually kind of feels like it's one of those movies from like the 2000s. There was a lot of kind of crime films being made on relatively low budgets with kind of semi-well-known stars that kind of never really blow out too much. You get a lot of kind of these types of films nowadays that end up having car chases and all this really high tension stuff. This is quite a reserved movie. It never loses its character focus. There is a lot to like here. There's a lot that's actually quite impressive. It's just the fact that I think the script is good. It's just the fact that the direction doesn't necessarily support it in the way that his scripts have been supported before, and it does kind of not fall flat in any sections because I was riveted from start to finish. It just doesn't give me anything to really go back to or think about or talk about or kind of explore at all. It's just the experience is in, you enjoy it, and then you go home, and that's about it.
100%. But as we did say, and we keep saying, I mean, this is his first step, and like for a first timer, it's pretty damn good.
Yeah, when
and
you look at it that way.
We are very, very excited to see where he goes next in his career. I mean, because the guy is so goddamn talented, and there's not many other screenwriters out there quite like him that are producing scripts that are just this kind of original and stripped of exposition.
Yeah, it's just something inventive and fresh about his stuff, and that's what we dig. And that's why we're giving this movie a 7.7 out of 10. So that was our review of Wind River. We were very, very adamant on trying to sneak in, trying to see this before we went away. But have you seen it yet?
Did you like it?
Did you hate it?
Did you like this video?
Of course you
Crave
did.
more banter.
If so, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel right there somewhere.
And don't you check us out at Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, and Twitter, all the Banter.